Welcome all of you. Now we are going to design bolted connections. Let us see how bolted connections are designed. You can see here some of the options that are possible. First thing is concentric loading. As you can see here, there is a bracket which is fitted to the frame with the help of, let us say, 4 bolts, and the load is applied over here. Now the load is passing from the center of gravity, therefore all the bolts, they are getting equally loaded. So in such condition, the case is very simple. Tensile load design, FT, tensile stress is equal to load upon area. So load is given W. Area for individual bolt is pi dc square by 4 into number of bolts. So that will give you the size of the bolt. I should write here DC. Find the size of the bolt. So this is very simple case. Let us concentrate on the eccentric loading. So what happens when there is eccentric loading? We can see different cases. First case is load acting parallel to the axis of bolt. As you can see here, this is the bracket, this is the load applied, and there are 4 bolts like this, and the axis of the bolt, if you see, it is parallel to the applied load. Now under such condition, how do we work? Let W, small w, is load per unit distance from the tilted edge. Now in this case, there is one thing you have to notice, that the bracket is going to tilt because of the applied load in a particular manner, and as a result the tilting is going to take place. Say, like for example, this is the direction of tilting in this case, because of which this particular point is going to become the tilting edge. So the tilting edge is here. The bracket is going to tilt while this point will remain in the same position. Now when this is the case, the load which is carried per bolt for each bolt will be given by the distance, because the load is proportional to the distance. Why this happens is because when the bracket is tilted, that time this particular point will be shifted more, this point will be shifted less, because this is closer to the tilting edge. So according to that, this bolt will be stretched more, this bolt will be stretched less, and as a result the stress developed in the bolts also will be proportional to the distance. So the force and the stress developed in the bolt will be proportional to the distance of the bolt from the tilting edge. So because of this, the constant which we are going to define is load per unit distance, small w. Now if this is the constant, then the next thing is load on bolt at 1. That will be given by the constant W into the distance, that is L1. So W into L1 is the capital W1, that is the load on bolt at 1. Similarly, the load on bolt at 2 will be W2 equal to small w into L2, because that is the distance of the second bolt. Now having done this, now let us see what happens. For the equilibrium of the bracket, that means for the bracket to remain in equilibrium, right now it is in equilibrium. Why this is in equilibrium is because the load applied from outside, that is the capital W, at a distance of L from the tilting edge, is going to create a moment equal to W into L, and this moment is opposed by the moment created by the forces in the bolt. Why the bracket is not moving like this? Because the bolt is, all the 4 bolts, they are holding the bracket in position. They are holding means what? They are applying force in the upward direction, and the moment created by all the 4 forces of the 4 bolts, that moment is going to be in the opposite direction. So that moment is balancing this applied moment, therefore the bracket is in equilibrium. Therefore we write W into L, that means the applied moment is equal to the moment exerted by the bolts. Now what is this figure? 2 times W into L1. What is W into L1? Small w into L1. Small w into L1 is the force. As you can see here, this is the force on bolt at 1. There is one more bolt at this distance, that is bolt number 4. So these 2 bolts are providing moment in the opposite direction. So that is W into L1, that is capital W1. L1 is the distance of that, which is the moment, and there are 2 such bolts, 1 and 4. Therefore this is the moment that is created by these 2 bolts. Similarly, this is the moment created by these 2 bolts, because they are at a distance of L2, and the distance is also L2. So force into distance 2 times, that is the moment offered by these 2 bolts. So this sum, if you take, this is the total moment that is applied by all the 4 bolts in order to prevent or in order to resist the moment which is occurring because of the applied load. So moment of applied load is equal to moment due to all bolt loads. So this is how we have prepared the equation. So this, when you simplify, it gives small w is equal to w capital W into L upon 2L1 square plus L2 square. So the small w which we defined here earlier, that is load per unit distance from the tilting edge, that value will be obtained by this formula. I can just put it in the box, so that this is the way we will be able to find out the value of constant. The unit of this is load per unit distance, that means say Newton per millimeter. Now having known the constant, now the next thing is, let us find out what is the maximum load. Now as you can see here, the bolt which is at the maximum distance, say the bolt at 2 at a distance L2, this is going to experience maximum load. So I'll write here, maximum load for a bolt at 2 is given by W2 equal to small w into the distance L2. Now small w is this, multiply that by L2, so that becomes a W2. So the bolt at 2 is exerting a load, or it is experiencing a load equal to this much. Now what is the load, what is the total load? You can see now here, total load on the bolt, total load on worst bolt. The worst bolt is bolt at 2. So the total bolt on the bolt at 2 is equal to W total. This is given by WT direct load plus WT eccentric load. Now I am writing here T for tensile load. So W tensile load due to direct, W tensile load due to eccentric. This is the W tensile load total. T for tensile, T for total. So the total tensile load on bolt at 2 is equal to WT direct plus WT eccentric. Now what is WT direct? WT direct is the load that is on each of the bolts. So total load upon number of bolts, that is the load on each bolt, which is of a tensile type. And then the eccentric load, WT eccentric, is nothing but the W2 load which we have just now found out, which is there because of the tilting action. So these are the two types of loads, which are these loads, and when you add them, that is going to give you the total load. So WT total is equal to W upon N, which is this, and WTE, which is this. So we have written it like this. W2 is replaced by this. So this is the total load, and this total load we are going to equate with the stress equation, which is tensile stress into the core area is going to be the total load. So this will give you the diameter DC, that is the core diameter of the bolt, and accordingly the outside diameter of the bolt. So we have designed the bolt at 2, and all the other bolts also will be of the same size, because we are making use of standardization. We are not using different bolts here and here. We are using the worst size of the bolt at all the places. So this is the first case called as load acting parallel to the axis of the bolt. Now let us take the next case, which is here. Load acting perpendicular to the axis of the bolt. Now as you can see here, there is a bracket like this. The bracket is fitted to the frame by the bolts like this, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the load is applied on the bracket somewhere here. So as a result, you can again see that W into L, this is the moment that is created on the bracket because of the applied load, and this moment is resisted by these bolts because they are holding the bracket in position by fitting them into the frame. Now again in this case, as you can see by observation, you can realize that this point becomes the tilting edge. This edge becomes the tilting edge. Now from this tilting edge, you are going to measure the distances of the bolts. Again, you can now see here direct load on each of the bolt. In this case, the direct load is going to be a shear load because the axis is like this, the resisting area is like this, and the load is along the resisting area. So the shear load is going to be the direct load, and that is given by load upon total number of bolts. This is the shear load. Now the eccentric load, you have to find out. Eccentric load is found out just like earlier case. So the eccentric load on the bolt is tensile load, and that is given by W tensile eccentric. So W tensile eccentric is just like the last time's formula. It is the same way, W into L upon W into L into L2, because L2 is the bolt which is at point 2 here. So it is at a distance L2. So this is the worst affected bolt. So the maximum load is on this bolt, and that is given by, this is small w, and multiply small w by L2, that is the distance of the worst bolt. So that is the eccentric load. So now we know what is eccentric load. We also know the direct load. So the total load on the bolt is W shear direct, that is this, and W tensile eccentric, that is this. Now these are the two loads that are applied on the bolt cross section, which we have to combine. But as you can see, one is shear and the other is tensile. You cannot add them straight away. We have to add them by considering the principal stresses. So considering the effect of principal stresses, how do we add them? When you add them, they are going to be added by making use of the square root equation. The square root equation of the stress, which we have already seen, that equation, if you further simplify by putting the values of the loads, then that will give you an equation in the form of loads. So that equation says, which is of a similar type to stress, it says W tensile equivalent is equal to half of WT eccentric plus square root of WT eccentric plus W shear direct square. So this formula is absolutely same like the stress formula. So this is the equivalent tensile load. So what this means, instead of saying that on the bolt there is a tensile load and shear load, we say there is only tensile load, which is given by combining the two loads in this fashion. So this tensile load is now to be equated with the standard formula of stress, that is pi dc square by 4 into ft design. So this will give you one value of core diameter dc. Similarly, there is a shear equivalent. Shear equivalent is like shear maximum, similar to the shear maximum stress. So W shear equivalent is half of WT square plus 4 times W shear direct square. Now this is to be equated with pi dc square by 4 into shear design. This will give you another diameter of dc. So the bolt diameter could be this as per the shear stress, the bolt diameter could be this as per the tensile stress, and out of the two, whichever is the maximum size that we are going to take. So that is how we are going to design a bolt in the case of a load if that is acting perpendicular to the axis of the bolt. So this is the way we do it. Now the next case is load acting in the plane containing bolt. Now this case is different than the earlier two cases. What it says, the bracket is like this, the load is like this, and now because of the load, the bracket is going to tilt this way, it is going to tilt like this, and this tilting is causing a reaction. The bolts are reacting this by applying forces in the opposite direction, and the moment of the force in the bolt in the opposite direction is going to balance this bracket. So the bracket will not tilt like this, it will remain in the same position, that is called as equilibrium, and that is happening because the bolts are creating exactly opposite moment. Now how this all happens, we have to find out. First thing is you have to locate the CG. Now if the arrangement is symmetric, the CG is very easy to determine, but if it is not so, then by this formula of CG you can find out the distance x bar and y bar. Now while doing this, the distances x1, x2 which are taken, those distances can be taken from whatever is the reference. Now you can call this point as a reference point and measure the x1, x2 distances from this point, or you can call this as a reference point and measure all the distances from this point. If you do that, then the x distance of 3 will be 0, x distance of 4 also will be 0, but that doesn't make any difference. We are still going to work in the same way, and as a result you will find x bar, which also is to be measured from the reference point. So you decide which is reference point, either this or this, and from that reference point you measure the distances x1, x2, etc., and you will get the answer x bar, which also is to be measured from whichever is your reference point. So having done this, you have got the center of gravity location. Now from the center of gravity, the load is applied at a distance of W, so that is going to create moment. Now what is the force acting on each of the bolts? As you can see here, the direct load is creating a direct stress. So the direct stress in this case is going to be a shear stress. So the load on the bolt is direct shear load. That is the first type of load. So we say shear direct load is load upon number of bolts. This is a shear direct load. Then the next is the load because of the tilting action. Now we have to find out the load because of tilting action. I'll write here W shear eccentric is equal to eccentric shear load, which is also called as a secondary shear load. You will notice here the eccentric load is causing a shear load. In the earlier example here, the eccentric load was causing a tensile load. Here the eccentric loading is causing shear load. So this is W shear eccentric. How to find out that we have to see. Next thing what we will do is we are going to add the two, and since both of them are of shear type, you can add W shear direct plus W shear eccentric. The only thing is you have to add them considering that they are vectors. So depending on the direction you have to add them. So that we will see in the next slide. So to find the secondary shear load WSE, shear load eccentric. How this is done is, there is one observation that is made use of. Let F1 is the force on the bolt at 1 due to the eccentric load. And that bolt is at a distance of L1 from the CG. So I'll just draw the figure here. If this is the bracket and if these are the bolts, and if this is the CG, then suppose the bolt here is called as bolt at 1, this is 2, this is 3 and this is 4. Then what happens is, because the bracket is tilted like this, the bolts are going to offer opposite reaction. Or you can say that because the bracket is tilted like this, that is exerting a force on the bolt in this direction. So what is the direction? If I join these two and draw a perpendicular line, then this is the force that is acting on the bolt at 1 because of this tilting action, which of course it is resisting by applying a reverse reaction. So whichever way you can take, it doesn't make any difference. So I am showing this is the force on the bolt because of bracket. So I can write here on bolt by bracket. So on the bolt by bracket, this is the force acting, which I am calling as F1. So this F1 is this F1 force on bolt at 1 due to eccentric load, and that is at a distance L1. So at a distance L1 there is a force F1. Now you will see that whichever bolt is nearer to the center of gravity, it will be stretched less, and the bolt which is away, that will be stretched more when the tilting takes place. Therefore force is going to be proportional to distance. So we can write that F1 is proportional to L1. So that is written here, force is proportional to L1. So you can say F2 is proportional to L2 and so on. That means F1 is constant into L1. Now if F1 is equal to constant into L1, then F1 upon L1 is constant, F2 upon L2 is constant. So we can say F1 upon L1 equal to F2 upon L2 equal to F3 upon L3 is constant. Now for the equilibrium of the bracket, like last time, for the equilibrium of the bracket, moment of applied load is this, W into L. This moment of applied load is going to be equal to moment due to all bolts, the load on all the bolts. So the load on all the bolts, they are offering opposite moment. So this is the reaction of F1. This is by bolt on bracket. So F1 into L1 is called opposite moment. Similarly, this will cause opposite moment. So everywhere there will be opposite moments created. So we are going to collect all these opposite moments. How are they? F1 into L1. So I'll write here W into input, this is called as E, W into E. So W into eccentricity E equal to F1 into L1 plus F2 into L2 plus F3 into L3 and so on. Now what we do is, we are going to replace this particular figure like this. What is F2? If you see here, F2 is F1 upon L1 into L2. L2 is taken here. What is F3? F3 is again F1 upon L1 into L3. What is F4? Again F1 upon L1 into L4. So like that it is written here, F2 is this, F3 is this, etc. So we replace now F2 by this figure. So when you do that, we write here F1 upon L1 into L2, and there is already one L2. So it becomes F1 upon L1 L2 square. Here also, when you replace F3 by this, then again it comes F1 upon L1 into L3 into one more L3, so L3 square. At this place also, F1 upon L1 into L1 square it becomes. So this becomes the modified equation. Out of that, when you take F1 upon L1 common, then what remains is L1 square plus L2 square plus L3 square, etc. This is equal to W into E. So W into E is equal to F1 upon L1 into bracket L1 square plus L2 square plus L3 square, etc. Now when you take F1 on one side, then F1 is equal to W into E into L1, W into E into L1, and then this bracket comes below in the denominator, L1 square plus L2 square, etc. So F1 is this. Similarly F2, if you do this making use of F2, that means here if you write this in terms of F2, then it becomes F2 equal to, again same, WE upon addition into L2. So for F2 it is L2, for F1 it is L1, and so on. So by doing this you will be able to find out what is F1, what is F2, what is F3. So having done this, at this stage we know all these forces F1, F2, F3, etc. they are acting on the bracket by the bolts. So forces acting on each bolt. Now let us take the force acting on a particular bolt. So that we are going to find out by addition of the two vectors. So before we do that, let us see how these vectors are shown. Now as you have seen earlier, I'll just take out the earlier figure. If you remember, we have just now said earlier that F shear D is the direct load and F shear E is the eccentric load, which is also called as, in this case, F2, etc. So where is F shear direct? F shear direct is also called as FD, is here. You can see here FD, 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 FD. So this FD is the load that is acting on each of the bolt because of the direct action of the load. So FD, 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 all of them are pointing down because the bolts are being pushed down. Now what is F1? F1 we have just now found out. So that F1 is shown like this, in the direction perpendicular to the line. So this is the direction of F1. So F1 is also one more force acting on the bolt because of the tilting action. So both the forces are acting on the bolt, one because of the direct loading and one because of the tilting loading. So these are the two forces at 1. Similarly, the force at 2 will be in this direction, force at 3 will be in this direction, force at 4 will be in this direction, in addition to FD, 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 FD everywhere. Now the total force on bolt at 1 is addition of the 2. Total force on bolt at 2 is addition of the 2. Total force on bolt at 3 is addition of these two forces, etc. So when you do that, let us take the bolt at 2. You will find these two vectors when you add, then this becomes the resultant vector. We call it as R2. So R2 here, maybe R1 here, maybe R3 here, R4 here. You will notice that at 1 and at 2, the resultant is going to be maximum because of the position of these two vectors. But if you see the resultant here, the resultant here will be shorter than here. So these two are the worst bolts. 1 and 2 are the worst bolts. So what is going to be the resultant R2 at the bolt 2? That is what we have to find out. So if you see the numerical values, how to find out the numerical length of this, numerical say value of the reaction R2, then that is given by the equation R2 is equal to this vector square plus the second vector square plus 2 multiplication of the vectors into cos of the angle between these two vectors. This is a standard equation. So R2 is given by this formula. So this is the total force acting on the bolt at 2, and it is in this direction and with this magnitude. So this is the force acting on the bolt which is causing a shear stress. So it is equated with the design equation consisting of shear stress, which says pi dc square by 4 into shear stress, that is R2. Once you come up to this much, then just get the value of dc, that is going to be the size of the bolt at 2, and then you can use the same size bolts at all the other places. So this is the way we have found out the size of the bolt in the third case, where it is a case of eccentric loading with the forces in the plane of bolt. So these are the forces, and both of them are of shear type, and you are going to add them by considering this kind of equation. So this way we are going to find out the size of the bolt. We are going to design the bolts by this method for the bolted connections.